Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fourth Down Focus. We're doing that thing again where we record two episodes in one day. We're not scruffs. And also, this is Tuesday, so if we get any of these predictions like majorly wrong because there's some sort of injury news through the week, that's not our fault. We didn't know that. It's Tuesday. We're doing them a little bit earlier than usual because the last few episodes have all been way off, and also me and Kian have busy weeks, so we can't do it any other days. So let's jump into the predictions, I guess.
Yeah, we will start.
Let's have more gossip like you did on the last episode.
I think we
Lane
covered
Kiffin's
everything.
dog doesn't belong to him. There you go.
Right.
Release the Lane Steam files.
He sounded like a dog then.
We'll
That's how
start.
I'd sound if I was trying to talk to Landry Kiffin. Go on, James.
We'll start with the Thursday night football again. The Lions are on Thursday night football against the Cowboys. You two have gone with the Cowboys. I have gone with the Lions to win this one.
Well,
My
me and Kian did this last week where we
Yeah.
both the Cowboys and it worked. So let's do it again.
yeah. Look, I think the Lions will be fuming. They've lost a divisional game. They need to bounce back, as I said in the One Thing We Learned video. If you haven't watched that, the Lions have a very tough schedule with the Rams and Cowboys and Steelers in the next three. So it's not easy for them. They need to win this game, in my opinion, to keep more so their playoff hopes need to, they need to keep them intact. I'm not saying they won't make the playoffs, but it could be a slippery slope if these games don't go their way. So, yeah, for me, I'm going to back the Lions as more of a hate backing, so I don't want the Cowboys to win. So fingers crossed I'm right. But I think the Lions will be fuming. They want to bounce back, and the Cowboys are on a silly run already. I refuse to believe they can beat the Eagles, Chiefs, and Lions 3 games in a row. So that's my reasoning.
Momentum is a very big thing in this sport, and coming off the back of 2 huge wins for the Cowboys, I can just see them do it again. This Lions team is not the same as it has been in previous years. Dan Campbell came out when they lost to the Commanders in that big game last year and said that could have been their only shot, and it's starting to age quite well, actually, that quote, because they're just not looking the same sort of team. They're struggling quite a bit. I don't know the severity of Amon-Ra's injury. Does anyone know?
He's not practicing today, apparently.
So that could affect them. It did sort of affect them in the game. I just think the Cowboys look pretty good recently, and they've looked better than the Lions. So give me the Cowboys.
Similar to Kian, I mean, this is two teams that are both in the playoff hunt, very much in it as well, where I feel like Dallas have a bigger chance because of the division not being very good. The Commanders stink, the Giants stink, whereas the Lions have a bit more of a hill to climb with the Packers and the Bears ahead of them. So I feel like Dallas have that extra motivation of it being quite a possibility that they could make the playoffs here, and that, as well as that, and the momentum, like Kian said, is basically what factored into me picking them.
Yeah, I'm also, I need to go different on some predictions because I'm that far behind. I might as well just try something different at this stage. So that also plays into it. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's controversial about the Lions. I just think I see the reasoning behind the Cowboys. Obviously, as you said, momentum's a big thing. But I think quality-wise, this Lions team has a bit more. And it should prevail, in my opinion, on back-to-back Thursday night games. It's probably very weird for the Cowboys to have that. So intriguing to see how...
Long weeks, though.
Yeah, true. They have Thursday. They have the whole weekend off, which is handy. So that's nice for the Lions. But we'll move on
I thought the Cowboys played on Thursday as well.
They did. They both did.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, so both of them, to be fair.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We'll move on, though, to this. The Ravens versus the Steelers. We're all in agreement here that we think the Ravens are going to win this game. Does anyone want to start?
I was unsure with this one a bit, but it boiled down to the fact that Aaron Rodgers looked very beat up in that last game. It's Tuesday, so we don't know what his status is. There's a chance Mason Rudolph starts this game, and if he does, I don't think they stand a chance. That's kind of what it boils down to. And also, just the Ravens are better by quite a bit, I'd say. They had the rocky start. They're still coming back from it now. But the division's wide open. Another AFC North divisional game for the Ravens here. They lost the last one. They need to win this one to kind of make a statement and take the lead. So, yeah, give me the Ravens.
It's been a very, very off year for the Ravens, especially what we thought they could have been coming into the year. Obviously, they started terribly. Like Mike said, they need to win this game, especially after losing to a pretty poor Bengals team. And, that Steelers team, for me, they started to look like a team on decline in the second half of that Bills game. Like I say, Rodgers was beat up. think this is him done now, to be honest. I know he's probably going to come out and say he'd love to play 7 years longer because he's on all these drugs, but I just can't see it much longer. He's starting to look old. So give me the Ravens. I think they'll win this game. I think they probably should win this game as well.
But it's fine because the Steelers lost, so surely they will adapt to the modern game and try something new instead of the same thing they've been doing for the past 20 years at this point. Surely.
Yeah, look, I think the thing with Aaron Rodgers, it gets to a point where you start to tarnish your own legacy if you keep playing bad for a long period of time when you're on the end of your career rather than just letting it go and accepting you're done. And that's the big thing with players like that. You need to accept that you're not there anymore. I just don't think he's at the level anymore to be a starting NFL quarterback. As far as this game goes, I think my decision was basically based on the Ravens. This is the biggest game of both of these two seasons because arguably the loser of this game won't win this division most likely. So it's a huge game for both teams. It's a huge game for the playoff picture as well because, as I said, to get in the playoffs in this division, you're going to have to win it. You will not get in on record with how good other teams have been. So, yeah, I think the Ravens will win. As Max said, they can't lose 2 divisional games on the spin. They just can't do it. You know, for a team that was looking like they were clawing back this season, they hit a bit of a wall against Cincinnati last week. So they're going to need to win this game against the Pittsburgh team, who I said struggled against a pretty poor Bills defense, all things considered. This Ravens defense, when fully fit, is a very good unit. And I think they more or less are fully fit, I want to say. I know Hamilton had a bit of an issue in the game. But apart from that, it's a more or less fit Ravens defense. I think they'll be absolutely fine. And I think they'll be able to get this one done and climb to the top of this division. We'll move on to the Bucks versus Saints. And I imagine this was a fairly straightforward one for everyone.
Pretty easy. There's not really much else to say. Pretty easy. The Saints are not a good football team. Although they do keep sort of hanging in there in games. They're not getting blown out as much as I thought they would be this year. But the Buccaneers are just better than them. And the Bucks probably could do with winning this game. I'll start mounting a run again because they had a 5-game losing streak before they won on the weekend.
3.
They weren't. Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't pretty for them. But yeah, they need to win this game for me, and I think they'll do it with a bit of ease as well.
Similar to what Kian said, really. The Saints have been sticking in some games this year, but it's been against teams like the Dolphins last week, who are not a good team by any stretch of the imagination. And Tampa need to weirdly make sure they stay ahead of the Panthers, which I don't think anyone had predicted at the start of this year. But yeah, quite simple, really.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was about to say, they actually need to win this game because there is, they put themselves under pressure, then they will tie the Panthers record who are on the bye this week. So they'll tie up at 7-6 with them at the top of the division if they are to lose this game. I don't know if they've played each other yet this year. I don't believe they have. I think
done by now.
They haven't. They've got them on
week.
Two of the last 3 weeks they played the Bucks, so that could be a very interesting series to say the least in terms of this division. But Tampa just haven't been that team. But obviously this is Saints, so I kind of have to back them anyway. But they just haven't really been the team that we all expected with Baker on his sort of generational run at the start of the year, looking like the strong MVP candidate. He's fallen miles away from that conversation now, in my opinion. He's just not been anywhere near as good as the likes of your Drake Mays, your Matt Stafford. He's not been that good. So just overall, it's not a great season for the Bucks. They'll probably still make the playoffs despite them being average. I think we say every year with the Bucks, they sort of get in it regardless of how bad this division is. They finally have a bit of an opponent with the Panthers. How long this Panthers run keeps on for, I don't know. But I feel like I keep saying this every week and it keeps continuing. So it'll be intriguing to see if they can still maintain it for the rest of the year. But the Saints aren't going to put up a fight enough to beat this Bucks team, in my opinion. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I think it'll be close. But I think the Bucks will get it done relatively easily. Next up, didn't think we'd see this anytime soon this season, but here we are. We've all backed the Commanders. I've very regrettably backed the Commanders. I was very tempted to not back them, but I can't after what I watched on the weekend.
Who's playing? Is 9 back?
I believe. He's had 2 weeks off with concussion. A week off with concussion. You like to think?
Well, you call it concussion. I call it getting benched in an honourable
yeah,
way.
No, so do I. But as far as if it is concussion, then he should be back.
That still doesn't give him the Vikings much of an advantage. Really, he's still terrible, and I think Marcus Mariota's better. I'm assuming is he still starting?
Believe so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. The Commanders just had a close game with the almighty Broncos, who are 10-win team somehow. So I think they should probably be able to beat a very lackluster Vikings team. And I don't think the Commanders are very good whatsoever. I've been saying that for the most of this season. But after what I just saw from the Vikings, I don't think I can back them for the rest of the season. So give me Washington.
I don't think there's a quarterback in Minnesota in that entire room that can win them games for the rest of this season.
I was going to say, if you're talking about on the roster, there is, but healthy, there is not.
No, in terms of a healthy quarterback in that room currently, there's just not one.
Desmond Ridder. They've got Desmond Ridder.
Exactly
if this was Carson Wentz, I'd back the Vikings, by the way.
I just, in terms of like the quarterback play that's going to be on show here is going to be piss poor. I just think that the Washington's going to get it done. The Vikings have been awful this year. And there needs to be some serious sort of investigation into the backroom staff of how it's got so bad so quick.
I've got a fun fact for my point. So I'm looking at the QB ratings from the last 2 games of the Vikings. JJ McCarthy in week 12, 34.2. Max Brosmer in week 13, 32.8.
How was it that high?
He was still better than McCarthy.
No, he wasn't. He was 2 points worse. But
that's why you just
the fun part about the stats there is, so bear in mind, McCarthy 34, Brosmer 32. Had they had spiked the ball every play, their quarterback rating would be 39. So that is the level of bad we are talking about when we speak about Max Brosmer and JJ McCarthy. If they had spiked the ball every play in their last game, they would have come up with a better quarterback rating than how they actually played.
It just feels so good to be right. I've been saying it. I said this on the last episode. I've been saying it. JJ McCarthy's not that guy. He's not even close to that guy. They should have kept Darnold. They should have just paid him, and they didn't.
I also seen a video when I searched JJ McCarthy. I saw 2 funny tweets. One was a Pro Bowl vote for JJ McCarthy. And the other one was Justin Jefferson after a season of Carson Wentz, JJ McCarthy, and Max Brosmer, and it's the iconic Antonio Brown video of him.
Yeah, I saw that
one. So yeah, it's just not great. And the Commanders, as I said, if this was Carson Wentz, I might have backed the Vikings, but it's not, so I won't. I don't want to back the Commanders. The fact I've backed the NFC teams which we're going to is making me sick. But
how do you get to the point where Carson Wentz is your only hope?
Yeah, that is the problem.
In 2025, it's 2026 next month.
I think I traded away Justin Jefferson in fantasy the second Wentz, JJ McCarthy came back into the team, and I've never been so happy to have made that sort of decision in fantasy in my life. That was the best fantasy decision I'll ever make. But yeah, going with the Commanders in this one, fairly straightforward. I think, as much as I don't want to do it, I will be self-sabotaging if I don't do it. Probably one of the biggest games of the week, this, and a bit of differential for you. The Jags versus the Colts. Me and Max have gone with the Jags. Kian is back in the Indianapolis Colts. So as always with the anomaly picks, I'll let Kian start.
This was really, really tough. A lot of me, like right up until I actually wrote it down, had the Jags in mind. But I just think I've seen enough from the Colts this year. I know they've sort of regressed over recent weeks, but I've seen enough from them to think they can win this sort of game. And that's basically all it sort of come down to. And obviously, I've said the Jags are also a decent team, but we've seen them choke in some sort of games this year. I think this is close. I don't think I'd be shocked if it went the other way either. But I think the Colts are going to get it done. But at the same time, I also don't think that. I'm not going to flip it because I'll keep the differential. But yeah, give me the Colts.
I will say, I'm going to use your point against you in a way that you use for the Cowboys, is that momentum is a big thing in the NFL.
I don't disagree with that.
So, obviously, the Colts have lost 3 of their last 4. The Jags have won 3 of their last 4. So, when you put it like that, it's a big thing, as you sort of brought up with the Cowboys. And look, this is the biggest game for both of these teams season when they play each other twice. This division will be decided on these games, realistically. If the Colts win this game, you fancy them to win the division. If the Jags win, you fancy them to win it. So the Jags, looking at their schedule, with the Jets, Broncos, Colts again, and the Titans, you have to feel like if they win one of these Colts games, win against the Jets and the Titans, that might be enough to win this division. They really might be. And they know that's very, very achievable. Whereas if you look at the Colts, they go to the Seahawks after this. You struggle to see them winning that, I think. Then the 49ers and Texans still to play. That's horrendous schedule for the Colts in a bad run. So I think the Jags know they can sort of pile on the misery to the Colts here. And I really do believe with that Colts schedule, they're in trouble of missing the playoffs altogether. I think they should still get into the wild card, but I could see them losing all the remaining games based on how they've been playing recently, which is mental to say, but I really could. But I'm going to go with the Jags. I just think, as you said with the Cowboys, momentum's huge, and the pressure's on in this division for them to go get this win.
James stole my point about momentum, but I don't have much to say other than this is two teams that I've kind of been expecting to hit a wall at some point and fall off. And at the minute, it's looking like that's the Colts, which I thought they might have the edge over Jacksonville just simply based off Jonathan Taylor. But he's also slowed down a little bit. I mean, he's still having good games, but it's not what he's been doing. So I think the Jags just slightly edge it for me. And it's also in Jacksonville, slight home advantage there. That's all I got, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think but this will be a huge game. As I said, I think the Jags bounced back so well from that loss in London. I think that was a bad game, and that could have really derailed the season. They weren't convincing for a while, but they bounced back well. Whereas the Colts have hit that loss against the Steelers, albeit they did win the game after it, but it was the Falcons. So you have to take it with a pinch of salt, which they only won by 6 points as well, and then they've lost 2 games after that. So they're struggling against teams.
Both these teams also have to factor in the fact that Houston are lurking right behind them now.
And with the Colts having the Texans on the schedule as well.
They were just lurking slightly a few wins behind, and they've sort of managed to get back into it now, which is impressive, if anything. So yeah, they need these teams need to win. I know the Texans have a tough game this week, but it's not unwinnable for them.
No. But yeah, we'll move on to the next game, which is the Falcons versus Seahawks. I imagine this was another relatively straightforward prediction. Anyone has anything?
It wasn't, because the Falcons are another slightly weird team that might somehow win this game. This was nearly one of my I haven't really got many outrageous picks this week, but if I had one, it had been Falcons to win this game, which is weird, and they were. I don't think, but I struggled a little bit. The Seahawks should win. I'm starting to. No. The Seahawks are going to win. Sam Darnold.
I can help you if you want. They've won one of their last 7 games.
I'm aware of this. At the start of the season, them and the Panthers were kind of doing the same thing, where you just didn't know what to do, but they've got slightly more predictable now.
They've won one of their last 6. The Seahawks have lost one of their last 6.
I mean. It should be a Seahawks win easily. There's always.
I do agree. I was going to say this Falcons team is odd. Every time you think they're going to win, they lose. Every time you think they're going to lose, they win. So if they come out and win this game, I can't say I'd be shocked. But I'm going off logic. The Seahawks should win this game. They've just shut out the Vikings again. Not difficult, but shutting out any team is still not easy. So it's impressive. The defense obviously carrying them through a lot of these big games. It's been superb all season. One of the best units in the entire league, which helps alleviate the pressure off Sam Darnold, which obviously helps him look a bit better because we've seen when he is under pressure, he shits the bed. So when
also,
the pressure
shout out Jason Myers, the Seahawks kicker, who got 19 points in fantasy for this week. What a beast!
Yeah, but Sam Darnold is on his best mission to fuck up JSN's offensive player of the year things. With I believe he had 4 targets in the game against the Vikings. Fucking 4 targets for JSN. But yeah, just. I think they should win, and that's what my prediction boils down to. Is if you go off all logic behind this game, they should win. So I'm going to bet the Seahawks.
My prediction mainly just comes down to quality on both sides. And obviously we mentioned that the Falcons have been a bit inconsistent, but we're starting to see a consistency, and it's a consistency of losing, which for me sort of sways me towards the Seahawks. I did think about taking the Falcons here, but I just sort of looked at it quality to quality wise. Even in the quarterback room, where I don't, my thoughts on Darnold are pretty high, as we all know. But I think he's better than Kirk Cousins. So just give me the Seahawks.
Any other season, I'd have taken the Seahawks and not even questioned it. But this season's just weird. So
yeah,
the second I was like, yeah.
I will say as well, I don't know if Drake London's back or not. He's missed the last 2 with an injury. I believe it was an MCL sprain, something like that. PCL sprain, so he's been out for a couple of weeks. Whether he returns or not will have a big bearing on the Falcons' chances, albeit Kirk Cousins uses Darnell Mooney more half the time anyway. So
I don't want to hear Drake London's name again after playing Kian on our Madden League, so let's just not talk about him.
But we'll move on to the next game. which, yeah, we've had some bad games. This tops the lot.
This is terrible.
It's the shittest game on the schedule this year. This is the worst one. I will not hear it otherwise. Maybe the Giants and Raiders can put up a bit of a fight, but this is the worst one in my opinion. This is crap. So I'll let the resident Browns fans start.
We're not good, but they're worse.
That was my point.
Yeah. We have a little bit of quality. They've got nothing.
I can't believe I felt relatively confident about backing the Browns.
I mean, you should never feel confident about it, but
I have a weird feeling with the Titans, but I just can't back them with Cam Ward being the most sacked quarterback in the NFL this year, going up against Myles Garrett.
I also want to know what VE means. V10?
No. You would nitpick that out.
Oh, I was looking at it, like, right.
Clevey.
V. That's how you say V.
There's definitely a world where the Titans somehow get their second win of the season here, but this should be a win for them, purely based off the fact that we have Myles Garrett, and that he should be enough alone to beat the Titans. I think he could end Cam Ward's season, potentially, if he gets to him enough times.
He should break the sack record this week.
He could. He actually might break the sack record this week because that.
Cam Ward is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. Myles Garrett has the most sacks. It is a recipe for fucking disaster for Tennessee.
Yeah, but this season that'll mean that Garrett doesn't even look at him.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, I think Garrett could break that record this week, but I'm not too.
I'd like to see the odds on Myles Garrett multiple sack game.
I'd probably like below positive. I don't think we'll make any money back.
No. The match made my point for me, to be honest. The Browns are not very good. The Titans are actually worse somehow. I just think this Browns defense is going to be a bit too good for this Titans offense, which has been pretty toothless all year. So Cleveland for me. I
mean, the Titans couldn't put a touchdown on the Jags defense, and I think we have a better defense than them. Simple as. So as long as we can score at least 2 touchdowns, we'll be fine. Just give it to Quinshawn in the Wildcat snaps. In fact, we could just do that the entire game and see what happens. Just don't play quarterback. That might be nice.
Not even the worst idea. That's the bad bit. Like, it's just not.
Haaland scored, by the way, Kian.
I was about to bring it up.
Fuck's sake.
Oh, well, I've got him in fantasy. Anyway, wrong sport. Carry on.
Yeah, just I can't really say much more about this game. They should win, so I think they will. So that's all I have to say. We'll move on to the standard of games, mate. Oh,
I struggled with this one.
We've all gone with the Dolphins. Obviously, you've got the Jets coming off their win against the Falcons, so it's a bit of more of a difficult one. But for me, quality prevails in games like this, and there is a severe lack of quality on the Jets. But anyone else want to
me and you sort of touched on this Dolphins schedule, James, where we said they actually could come out of this season looking a little bit better than they have been.
Yeah,
on the record, and I think this is one of them games where I think they'll win it, and at the end of the year, people are going to look at their win record and go, "Oh, they actually weren't too bad." When actually you look at the teams they beat, apart from the Bills, it's not been great. I think they'll win this game. They're, like you said, solely due to quality. I don't think much of the Jets at all. Obviously, I know they won the weekend, but shit teams always find a couple of wins. You rarely get, well, apart from the Browns, that one time. 2 seasons actually. But yeah, I just think that they'll find a way, the Dolphins. I just don't rate this Jets team at all.
I think I said I wouldn't be shocked if the Dolphins managed to win out. They won 3 of their last 3 games. They have the Jets, Steelers, Bengals, Bucks, and Patriots. And the only reason I think they might win out is that Patriots game may not mean anything to the Patriots by the time we get to it. So I really, and if they win out, that's 10 wins. Is that enough for a wild card spot? Is my question. Would you think 10 wins would get you into the wild card?
I have no idea this season.
I think in the 16-game season it would. You might be on the outside in the 17.
I think they'd be unlucky to miss out. But again, if they went and won out the rest of this year, I can't say I'd be shocked. I really wouldn't.
In the AFC, 10 wins could be enough. Because I don't think anyone in the AFC North will get 10 wins.
Yeah, true.
So, so you see what I mean? Like, if you look at it now, like the 7th seed is on 8 wins, so it would need a bit of a calamity from someone else. But I really could see it. with them doing well at the end of this year. I'm not saying they'll make the playoffs, but if they had a good end to the year, as Kian said, I wouldn't be surprised. They've been a lot better in recent weeks. I think it leans more with when A-Chain is on the ball, good things happen, and they just need to just keep doing it because there's not really an answer. He's so quick, you can't do a lot about it. But I'm going with the Dolphins in this one. I've been impressed with them recently, and the Jets, as much as they have that game under their belt from last week, the Jets winning 2 games in a row in a season would be hilarious, to say the least, but I can't see it personally.
Did the Jets not have the Jets not got 2 in a row now?
Oh wait, did they have a bye? No. Oh yeah, no, they did. They got the Bengals and Browns. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Them doing it twice in a season would be even more hilarious then.
Yeah, I thought so. I was kind of torn on this game just because they're both coming off wins and neither of them are that good. And then I just realized I didn't care, so I just took the favorite. That's obviously it. I thought the Dolphins have a slight bit more quality. I'll go with them, but I don't think this is going to be a very entertaining matchup whatsoever. So,
fair enough. We'll move on to the Bills versus the Bengals. And am I insane for thinking I could flip this here?
No, I'm surprised it's a Bills sweep, to be honest.
I am too.
I'm tempted.
I thought James in particular would have took the Bengals.
Yeah, and me.
I don't know. I as I said, I've gone with the Bills because obviously, if you're looking at it, it's a sensible idea, right? But the Bengals were really good against the Ravens, and I know you said there's issues obviously with the defense. Will they hold up that sort of level of consistency?
No,
but this Bills defense is bad, and if this goes into a complete shootout with the lack of efficiency from Josh Allen in the last couple of games, with Joe Burrow looking brilliant in that first game back, it becomes a problem for the Bills pretty quickly. And I think this will be an absolute classic game. I think this will be brilliant. I think this will be points all over the board. So I'll let you two go first and have your reasonings. I'm very tempted to flip this.
I'm going to counteract you because I agree this could go into a shootout. I know that you mentioned that they've been a little bit toothless, the Bills, on offense this year, but Allen has thrived this year in shootout games. I think of 2 straight away. The Buccaneers was a shootout. The Ravens was a shootout. They both won them games, and Allen played very well. I think that's the sort of game that this year he has been better in. If it boils down to that, I think the Bills will win this game. And I think it will boil down to that because I can't see this Bengals defense, being anywhere near the level it was at the other day. It's a poor defense, and that was just sort of papering over the cracks. So I think the Bills have got enough to be completely honest with you. And I think Allen this year has thrived in them shootouts more than he has in methodical games.
I don't know. I just feel like as well with T. Higgins should be back, I believe, this week. You've heard T. Higgins, the offense that performed really well already. That becomes a scary offense to play with Joe Burrow at the helm. So I'll let Max go, but I'm tempted.
If it comes to a shootout, which it might, I'm taking Josh Allen. I think he has the added ability to rush, which we've seen he's good at. He broke a record for it last week. And Burrow don't really have that in his game. And I think it might come down to something as simple as that. That could get him an extra few touchdowns that the Bengals might miss out on, or an extra few first downs, even something that small. And I just can't back the Bengals. I can't do it for bias reasons and for logic. So I'm taking the Bills.
See, every time I've said this about every week on the podcast, but every time I don't flip and I really wanted to, it's always wrong. So I'm going to flip it. I'm going to go with the Bengals because I've got nothing to lose in predictions anyway. I'm miles bottom, so I might as well try something. And I really just do think if they can match that level of performance, they have a really good chance against this Bills defense that's really struggled. And if they can limit Josh Allen, which we have seen plenty of teams have been able to do this year, I think it could be a long day for the Bills.
It's harder to limit Josh Allen when your defense is back on the field every 5 minutes, though.
I don't know if it will be.
If it's a shootout, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. I'm going to go with the Bengals just for a bit of difference anyway. But, yeah. As I said, every time I don't flip and I wanted to, I was wrong. So no doubt when I do actually make the flip, I will be wrong again. But I'll go with the Bengals in this one.
Buffalo home advantage too. That helps me.
I believe it's been snowing there this week as well.
Ooh, a snow game.
Obviously, we're early in the week, so it might not be, but it doesn't. When it starts snowing there, it rarely stops. So
give me a snow game.
This is a game I won't be flipping, however. And Kian, you lied on the podcast last week. You said you were not backing the Broncos for the rest of this year, and then I said, "What about this week?" And you said, "I will back the Raiders."
Then I watched us again.
Then you watched
Um,
Eugene.
Then you watch
I'll be
Eugene again.
completely honest with you. I sort of mentioned it in the one thing we learned. The Broncos struggled in this game last time, but they've struggled in every game and found a way. But we haven't got the quality for me to actually back us. And I don't want us to win as well, which sort of piles onto my prediction. But I wouldn't be shocked because, like I say, the Broncos really struggled last time. Not really for our own thing, just through more them not being what their record suggests they are. I think they'll win. And I think, again, they're going to move on to another win. And people will say, oh, this Broncos team's great. But I wouldn't actually be shocked if Eugene Cyril Smith gets us a win and fucks up our tank in this game.
One thing I want to make a point quickly about the last game, so I forgot to mention it. The Bills haven't beat the Bengals since 2019, by the way. Just a fun fact for you.
We've moved on. I just can't see Eugene Cyril Smith winning a game.
Hopefully not.
For the rest of his career.
Well, here's hoping.
This Broncos team is good. I don't care what people say. You cannot win this many games without being a good team. And they will not. They will win this game. They struggled last time. They're going to want to put that right and show that, they can beat these teams rather comfortably. So, I meant to say, but even a 10-7 win, they seem fairly comfortable all games. They're not like they're going to give up any points.
I mean, they did nearly concede an equalising field goal. And if our field goal kicker wasn't a twat, then we would have.
I still would have backed them to win the game in overtime.
I don't know. They've been pretty poor that game.
But yeah, they'll win this game. I'm 99% sure of it. Kian doesn't even want the Raiders to win anyway. And I don't think the Raiders want to win either, based on the way that they've been playing for the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, just this Broncos defense is ridiculously good, and Eugene has struggled against shite defenses. So I can't imagine. He's going to. We've already seen it against this defense. He put up 7 points, so I can imagine the struggle is going to continue.
I know the Raiders' QB room is maybe the worst, maybe slightly better than the Vikings. But how has Eugene not been dropped yet?
I'd argue it's not worse than the Vikings because Carson Wentz is better than Eugene. So
in terms of money we're paying him, like if you put the money per year into length of contract, I want to say he's like the 4th highest paid quarterback this year. So that's why we've not dropped him. And to be fair, we probably don't want to win anymore, and we know that he's not helping.
Can you cut him? At the end of the year?
I think he probably can. I think he'll be the backup next year if we have a high enough pick to pick a quarterback.
I thought it was only a 1-year deal.
No, it's a 2-year. They wanted to bring him in this year and then have him mentor a rookie. I hope he is not mentoring the rookie when we literally have Tom Brady in the fucking building.
I was going to say, yeah, you have a guy you don't need to pay any money for, bar his salary in the building. So
he paid to be there.
Yeah.
Welcome to Vegas, Ty Simpson. Here's your mentor, Eugene Cyril Smith. Kill yourself.
Going to make it even worse.
They should let him pick whether he wants to be mentored by Smith or Tom Brady.
In fairness, if you're getting Ty Simpson as your quarterback, that's a whole nother problem. We'll move on to another big game, all things considered. The Packers versus the Bears. Obviously, said what I want to say about the Bears. We said what I want to say about the Packers. Two teams, you're more convinced for the Bears. I'm not so convinced for the Packers, so that's exactly why I've backed the Packers in this one. But I'll start as the anomaly. I'm still not sold on the Bears at all. I'm really not. I'm not saying they're a bad team, but they're a good team. I don't know if they're a team that's going to win this division level of good. The Packers, again, I don't read into the Thanksgiving game too much because, as I said, it's like an American tradition that the Lions always lose. So it's not like it would surprise me too much if the Bears win this game. But the Packers have won 3 games on the spin, 2 divisional games in there as well. So they can make it 3 divisional wins in a row, which is huge in a season for anyone. Obviously, they're currently the 6th seed. A win, sort of, I believe, would it put them top of the division because they have the tie? So they'll go to 9-3-1, and the Bears will be 9-4. So they will be top of the division if they win this game, and they simply have to get that 1 seed back over the Bears. So I'm not convinced with either of these teams. I'm really not. I had no idea what to predict, but for the sake of differential, and I just think quality boils down in these sort of divisional close games, and I think the Packers have more than the Bears, so I'm going to go with the Packers.
Historically, the Packers have sort of swept this every year. There's no better way for the Bears to show they are a serious team than to beat them. This is one of the biggest rivalries in the league. I think people sort of forget that because of how poor the Bears have been in recent years. But I just think it's such a huge statement if the Bears win this game. So they're going to be well up for it. You know, the momentum that the Bears have got at the minute is massive. They've won a lot of games in a row now. So I do think genuinely they'll win this game. But it wouldn't shock me, obviously, if it flipped. But I don't want to sit on the fence. So Bears, and I think they will as well.
Very similar to what Kian said. The momentum is overwhelming for the Bears right now. I also feel like there's good vibes in Chicago right now. It's their first winning season in like 7 years now, since 2018, I believe. Their first winning season confirmed now. And I feel like that can get you a long way. Just good morale on the team, stuff like that. Caleb, I mean, they're top of the NFC, and I'm still not entirely convinced by Caleb, but you know, that running game can go a long way. They just absolutely ripped apart the Eagles, who were supposed to have quite a solid run defense. They could probably do it again here in Green Bay. And Caleb can be good. He's just not very consistently good. So I feel like, I don't know. I was torn, but I'm going to take the Bears. Bear down.
I've just had a look, by the way. Bear in mind these teams play each other twice a season. The Bears have won once in the series since 2018.
The Packers have always been better than them since then, in fairness.
Like, the Packers win this game more or less all of the time. The last loss was for the Packers was literally last season.
But like I said, the Bears, this is their first winning season since 2018.
Agreed. But obviously, you know, that sort of historical dominance plays part in these games. I mean, I'm looking further back here.
It's a huge statement, though. If they go in there and win,
they've won this game 3 times in the last decade, the Bears.
Is it at Lambeau?
It is at Lambeau, which was going to be my other point.
If they go into Lambeau and win, that's a huge statement. You can't then sit there on here next week and say they're not a serious team.
I can't back them at Lambeau. I just can't do it. It just to me, logic should prevail and they should win this game. But
can we have an agreement that if they go into Lambeau and win, you can't sit here and say they're not a serious team?
Yeah, I'll give them it. If they beat the Eagles and the Packers back to back, then I'll give them their flowers that they are a good team. Well, no, sorry, not because they are a good team. I mean, they're a serious team, but I think they're struggling in this one, so I'm going to go with the Packers.
I think it'll be a very close game. I think
it'll be a good game as well.
I think whoever wins will win by field goal.
This game,
walk off.
The last game.
No, the last one.
No, not this one. Not me.
I mean, as much as the loss against the Panthers was concerning in a way, I don't think it's going to affect them too much this week.
I mean, Jacoby's been slinging it.
Yeah, true.
He's been slinging it.
So this Rams defense has been so good all year. They've had one bad game, which, you know, every team's got to have a bad game at some point for the most part. So I think quality just comes down to it in this game. The Rams will be fuming that they lost that game to the Panthers in the way that they did. Stafford will be fuming through 2 picks after not doing it for so long. I think this could be an absolute onslaught from the Rams. Just complete bounce back ability to come back into it and get a huge win. To keep them, bear in mind, they are, I believe, joint on results with the Niners in this division, which is interesting. So the Niners are somehow still winning games, which is baffling to me every week. But I suppose they have the easiest schedule in the league by a mile, so that does help. But yeah, I'm going with the Rams in this one. Pretty straightforward. I think as much as I've given Jacoby Brissett his deserved praise, he's been very good. I don't think he'll be able to do enough in this game to beat the Rams because the teams that beat the Rams have had to outscore them, and that is not an easy task.
I mean, the aforementioned Panthers game with the Rams last week, they struggled, but it doesn't seem like a big factor. But that it was raining in that game for a lot of it. It's not really weather that the Rams are used to. You know, they're used to nice weather. They're playing this game in Arizona. I don't think it's going to rain. So back to more familiar territory for them. Divisional game. The Cardinals aren't really a threat in this division, but they still need those games to win. I think they should get back to winning ways with some ease. Although Jacoby Brissett has been good, and Trey McBride seems to score a touchdown every week. Thanks for that trade on Fantasy, Kian.
So don't worry, I was never going to win anyway.
So yeah, give me the Rams though.
Not that I think it should have, but I think the 2 picks last week would have sort of hurt Stafford in his MVP chase. He knows that. So I think we're going to see an angry Matt Stafford and a very good Matt Stafford on the weekend. I just think they're going to bounce back. I think they're far too good for this Cardinals team. You also mentioned it was raining in that game. They play in a dome stadium, so in their own ground, it's never going to rain. I'm pretty sure the Cardinals got a roof on it as well. So I just, yeah. And it's also in the fucking desert. So I don't think that's going to be a factor. So just give me the Rams. I think this will be pretty comfortable.
Next up, we have this game, and again, a bit of differential here. The Chiefs versus the Texans. Now,
I'm starting to think you actually quite like the Chiefs.
No, I'll give you my. I think I've already mentioned it a couple of times. I've obviously backed the Texans a few times. I tend to be right when I do back them. They're a good team, and obviously they're under pressure to keep winning as well. As Max mentioned before, I don't know if it was in this episode or the last episode, but you said about them sort of sneaking around in that behind the Jags and Colts, just not a couple of wins off. So they are in contention there. But I've sort of said it. The Chiefs always find a way. If they lose this game, this dynasty is dead, and you can confirm this dynasty is dead. They will not make the playoffs if they lose this game. But that's why I think they will win this game, because they know it's pretty much win or bust for the rest of the year now to make it into the playoffs. You pretty much have to win out, and this team is still capable of doing it as much as people don't think so. As I said, I will happily come back here, and I will not be disappointed if you two are right here. I will be more than happy to see the Texans win this game. But I think when the Chiefs have that pressure on of it's basically you have to win or you're done, every time they've been in that situation, for the most part, they win the games. They need to win. And that year we had a couple of years ago where they barely made the wild card, but they did make it. I think it's been another one of them years for the Chiefs where they've struggled, but they'll get in, and then they'll move down the playoffs like they always do. So I think this will be a low scoring game because it always is with the Texans involved. But I just think the Chiefs will have a little bit too much. But we see also with the Texans when it's low scoring, they lose by sort of last drives, and that's Mahomes' bread and butter to go and get games done like that. So I think they'll win this game.
I think the Texans are going to really want to win this game. You know, obviously they need to win anyway to try and keep in touch with the top of the division. But Kansas City also knocked them out of the playoffs last year. So it would be almost very sweet for them to sort of end their chances. And I think this Kansas City dynasty is dead. I think it is. You know, I said it on the last episode. I hope I don't have to eat my words, but I think it is dead. They just don't look the same team. I think, you know, if we're going back a few years, they'd have won that game on last Thursday, but they didn't. And Kelsey keeps dropping balls. Bear in mind, he's actually not had a terrible year, but he keeps dropping them in crucial positions. And that's was Mahomes' safety valve for a long, long time. So I just think the Texans are going to beat them, end this awful dynasty, and we can all have a much nicer life knowing that we're not be haunted by Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
I've kind of gone similar to James, but like the reverse. James has said on the last two episodes now that he thinks that these close games is like, as you just said, Mahomes' bread and butter. This season, it's not. It hasn't. They haven't been winning these close games that you'd expect them to win, and they have been winning for the past few years. Whereas Texans are doing that. They just did it against their biggest divisional opponent, the Colts, who have been on fire this season. I do agree that they will be low scoring, and whoever wins this is going to have to grind it out. But I think it'll go the other way. I think it'll go to the Texans. I think they have very, very good defense, and it's going to carry them in this game. I feel like if they can just shut down Mahomes, you know, mark up Kelsey, they'll be fine. I think they'll be able to do it. So I'm going to take the Texans.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't know. I just feel like when it comes down to the season on the line, which I know you said you could say it has been for a while, but now it really is. Like, this is win or bust. They're done if they lose this game. So I think they'll just, I don't know what it is. I just think they'll do it, and I think they'll get the result that they want. Finally, the Chargers versus the Eagles. I don't know about you lot, but I've based this a lot on Justin Herbert may not be healthy. And we can't know for sure, as we said, we're recording this earlier in the week than we normally do. So normally we'd know by now whether he's going to play or not. But we don't. So I'm not sure. But I've basically just gone with that. I don't know if you don't have anything more to add to it.
I sort of base mine on the fact that for the last few weeks, the Chargers haven't really impressed me. I think a better team probably would have beaten them on Sunday. They gave us a lot of chances, but when you got chances and Eugene Cyril Smith's taken them, we all know if he'd have shot John Lennon would still be alive. So I just struggle to see a way this Chargers team is going to be serious towards the end of the year, having watched them on Sunday. And I think this Eagles team is going to be angry as well. Like, you know, they've had two poor games back to back. I think the quality is still there as well. So I think they'll win this game, but again, it wouldn't shock me if it went the other way, but I'm not 100% convinced by the Chargers.
I'm currently, if Herbert plays, I'm about 75-25 split in favor of the Eagles. Trey Lance plays, I'm 100% sure that the Eagles will win this game. As well as that, I've mentioned about Kamani Vidal. He's been having on and off weeks. Like, if you look at his stats, he's literally 1 week he's shit, the next week he's great, and he just had a good game. So he's not going to be a player factor in this game. So it's down to whoever's throwing the ball to make it work. And the Chargers have just been a weird team this year. I mean, everyone's been a weird team at this point, but they're just kind of, some weeks they look great, some weeks they look completely off it. And I feel like against an Eagles team who have they lost 2 in a row now?
Yeah.
They're going to struggle against an angry Eagles team. So I'm going to say that I don't think this will be an entertaining game to watch whatsoever. I think it'll be a shitter, but I think the Eagles will win it. They seem to always win those games that are just horrible to watch. So give me them.
I've not been entirely convinced with either of these teams for the last couple of weeks, especially less so the Chargers and the Eagles. But as you've sort of mentioned, the Chargers have been worse. And with Justin Herbert's health in question, I cannot in the right mind back them, because even if he's healthy, I still don't think they'll win. So if he's not, it's going to be a bad day for Trey Lance, I think, for his first start in a very, very long time to come up against the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I would not want to be him. Sort of shades of Brosmer this week, against the Seahawks defense is not an ideal situation for an inexperienced quarterback to come in and take on. So, yeah, I'm going with the Eagles. I feel it's a sensible pick, and I would be surprised if this went the other way. But that is all of our predictions done, unless you have a question for us, Max. If you've got
the question goblin has stopped being a goblin. He hasn't got any questions. So
I forgot.
What I've decided to do, you might have seen me on my phone a few times this episode. We're going to do little best of 5. I'm just going to ask some NFL trivia. Obviously, best of 5 out of you two. Whoever gets to 3 first wins.
Yeah.
So, first question. I'm just finding me. I've not actually picked out which ones I wanted yet.
Fuck's sake.
No, it's fine.
This already picks the ones that I've already done in a previous episode.
Okay. First question. What is the smallest NFL stadium by capacity?
Jags.
Small NFL stadium.
It used to be the Chargers when there was at the football ground, but it's not anymore because they moved to SoFi. Small.
It shouldn't be this hard. I feel like this is just something that we should know.
Panthers, maybe? Doesn't look massive.
That's quite a big stadium, I'm pretty sure.
Lions.
Nope, but I will say that's the right conference.
So
Bears?
Ding, ding, ding. James gets a point.
I literally have just said to myself,
it's probably still big, isn't it? Like, it's probably...
Well, yeah, but I said by capacity.
Yeah, no. How big is it in comparison?
He doesn't actually tell me. He just says it's the smallest one.
I should have thought about the fact it was built in like 1855.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Okay, next question. James is 1-0 up. What is the only NFL team that has never had a game end in a tie?
Texans, just because they're so new.
Not the Giants, no.
I can't believe there's only one.
Yeah, that's. I'm surprised there is one. To be fair, I'm surprised there is a team that hasn't had a tie ever.
Broncos.
Chargers. There's no logic to this. Like, it is just pure guesswork.
No.
Yeah.
Eagles.
Browns, because you asked it.
Steelers. I actually watched them out of tie. Raiders.
Who's just saying names here?
The AFC Pro Bowl team.
He's in the AFC. I'll give you that.
Okay. Patriots.
No.
Miami.
No.
Buffalo.
No.
Jets.
No.
Fuck it. Who is it? I'm running out of teams. Ravens.
No.
Bengals.
No.
There can't be many AFC teams left.
What the fuck?
Titans?
No.
Jags.
Jags. Ding, ding, ding. 1-1.
Fuck me.
Took a while.
Again, there's no logic to that question. You either know it or you don't.
Well, yeah. That's an easy question. One of these questions is which NFL player is known for popularizing the dab? Pick out another one here. Okay. Which team has the worst winning percentage in NFL history?
Browns.
Wrong. Knew you'd say that. I knew you'd say that.
Titans.
No.
It's
You
not
need
Wheels who won 3 Super
to
Bowls.
think of historically bad teams here because this isn't just recent. You know, this is
You are historically bad, to be fair.
Jags.
Yeah. No, not Jags. The only hint I'll give is that they're kind of good now.
Lions.
Close, but no.
Can't be the
Bears?
Bears. They were good for years.
Who?
Bears.
No.
Kind of good now.
Kind of.
Jags.
Just said that.
It wasn't going to be them again.
I said it because I thought it might be, and that's why I asked it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Kind of good now. I mean, by kind of good, we mean like.
I mean, Minnesota have now been great.
It's not them.
Chiefs.
Chargers.
No, I'll give you one more hint. They've won a Super Bowl somewhat recently.
Buccaneers.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
2-1.
I didn't even think about them. They won one in
This
2003.
is-
They seem to win the division every year, so you don't think.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. Which NFL team has the most Hall of Fame players?
Bears.
It is the Bears.
I actually
Kian
knew that one.
wins.
I actually knew that one.
For fun, I guess we'll do the final one. Which iconic NFL player retired with more tackles than drops?
What tackles and drops?
What? Gronk?
Nope.
Tackles than drops.
More tackles than drops.
That's such a weird statement. Like I feel like it's an offensive player. The
It
way you
is.
said, yeah, right.
Hmm.
That's mental. Whoever this is, wow. I feel like I've heard this before.
Iconic.
Iconic. I'd say he's a legend at his position.
Megatron.
No.
Tony Gonzalez.
No.
And it is an offensive player.
Yep.
So it has to be because like tackles and drops would only be used for offensive, surely.
It is a wide receiver, if that helps at all. It's not a
Well, it's
tight
going to be Jerry Rice.
Which are iconic wide receivers?
Iconic wide receivers.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh,
I don't even know who gets the point there, but it's Larry. I tried giving it away by saying this player's a legend. Larry Legend. But yeah, Larry Fitz.
well, I lost anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
You both get the point, I guess. Kian wins 4-2 in a best of
Nice
5
one.
series. That's all I've got, unless you want to do
Yeah.
more questions.
No,
I'll take the win.
that's all we have for you then this week. So obviously we'll be back next week to do our review and predictions again. But thank you very much for Max and Kian for joining me, and we will see you all
Release
next
the
week.
Lane Steam files.